Hello and welcome to BJA Ceramics. So in this video I just want to show all of you how I create a mug using my hands. I know some of you may not have a pottery wheel at home, so this is one of the ways that you can create pottery at home if you don't have a pottery wheel. So I'm going to demonstrate how I make my mug just using my hands. And it's basically traditional way of making things. We start off with a wedged piece of clay. This is approximately, I would say, maybe 2.5 pounds of clay. And I wedged it already, so make sure you wedge your clay. And basically what I'm going to do is create a pinch pot. So I'm going to do the pinch pot method. So that requires me putting my finger into the clay, or my thumb, right in the center of the clay, just like that. And so what I want to do, what you want to do next, is pinch, but you want to go around. You want to make it even. And my clay is a little stiff today, which is good. You don't want to work with clay that's too soft. So I just want to go around and around, pressing my thumb down at the bottom and distributing the clay evenly at the bottom. So I'm just going to press and turn, press and turn, press and turn, press and turn. And if you notice, we are coming into some type of shape. And when you use this method, you can make either a mug, a bowl, a vase. So this is the standard way, your traditional way of starting it off. So I'm pressing at the bottom. I don't want my bottom to be too thick. And now I'm just smoothing out the bottom. So I think this is as far as I would like to go. And so I am pressing it and smoothing it out. So I want to make it a little taller. So I'm going to make it taller before I get to my final shape. I'm going to make it taller, stretch it up a little bit. And all I'm doing is pinching the outsides, and that helps the clay move up. Pinch and it just moves up higher. Okay. And it is a little dry. I might put a little water on it, maybe not. And just press and squeeze. Press and squeeze. Up, upward. Start from the bottom and move your way up. Start from the bottom, move your way up. And sometimes the print from your fingers or your thumb can bring so much beautiful texture, if that's something you like. So now I'm going to start shaping my cup or my mug. And if you've made your opening too wide, it's easy to fix it. Just squeeze it in. If you want to make a narrow rim. And I'm going to work at the bottom here. Just smooth my bottom out a little more. And start making the belly of my mug. Let me move it over so you can see a little bit better. So I'm just pushing out. I'm just pushing out with my hand on the inside, just pushing it out like that, making that curve. And I'm just gonna, I have a banding wheel. So I'm gonna sit this on the banding wheel, and I purchased this banding wheel from Target. I only paid $3 for it. So if you're not in the market of buying one of those expensive banding wheels that'll cost you close to $100, go to your local Target or your craft store and purchase one of these. Okay, so that helps a lot. So let me see. And as you can see, it's starting to round off the bottom. And we want to get it as even as we possibly can. I'm starting to like that form. Let me squeeze a little bit on the rim. And I do allow a considerable amount of clay at the bottom because I do like to put it on the wheel to carve my the foot. Okay. Let's see. Let me see if you can see how round that's getting there. See that? And I do like a large mug. I love large mugs. You can do so many things with it. Not only can you drink your favorite beverage out of the mug, you can also use it for ice cream, soups, you know, so it's versatile. And let's see. I think I like what I have here. Just gonna round it off a little more at the bottom. Distribute that clay a bit. And the clay that I am using, I believe this is from, sorry I didn't have it in the center. I believe it's from Seattle Pottery Supply. It's one of their brown clays. And I think what I'm going to do now is try to smooth it out. Let me go get another tool. Okay, so I have my little metal rib here that I'm going to use to smooth out. Even though the fingerprints are lovely, I prefer for this one to be a little smooth. So I am supporting it by just pressing my hand up against the walls of the mug here. I don't want it to be perfectly smooth because I do want to have some type of indication that it was made by hand. So they're not perfectly smooth. And let me see if I could show you. And you can see it's getting a little, smoothing out a little bit. And then periodically you have to try to maintain that shape. Okay. Okay. You get down at the bottom. Smooth it out. To the top. Now, sometimes your rim might be uneven. So what I do is I grab the needle tool and I just hold it steady. Hold it steady, point it towards where you want to cut the rim, and just go around, just like that. And then you can just pull it off. I'm not going to pull it off here in the video, but that's just to demonstrate if you want to even the rim. But I'm just going to take my fingers and smooth it out. even it out. And as I said, my clay is a little dry, so it's kind of splitting, but that's fine. It still has enough moisture in it where I could just mend it back. It goes right back together. And I really love this here. So here's some of it, or not some of it, but that's the inside of it. And here are the sides of it. So I'm going to smooth it out a little more. And smooth my bottom out, level it. See if I could use this to level the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use this tool to smooth the inside. And I'm holding the outside so that I don't distort the shape that I have here. And I'm going to smooth that out again at the bottom. And I'm going to show you what it looks like, because I know my camera is not focused. Alright, so I'm just using my finger a little bit to get the parts that I couldn't reach. And as you can see, that's just a little smoother. I have to go over it a little more, but it looks a lot better. Okay, so now, as you can see, it's starting to come into the shape, or it's coming into the shape that I desire. You might not like a wide cup, but I do. So let's smooth some more on the sides and try to remove some of the clay at the bottom so that when we trim the foot, we won't have a lot of clay to deal with. But it's a good idea to keep a considerable amount of clay at the bottom, so just in case when you are trimming the foot, you have enough clay to work with. Okay. So as I said, I don't want to take all of the imperfections out of it because I do want it to show that it is a handmade mug. And I'm starting to get these cracks on here. That's because of the dryness. But I don't want to put any water on it right now to smooth it out. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just trying to achieve evenness as much as I can on the rim. And I got these little cracks here. If you get cracks, just take a piece of clay here, pinch it, and then I just patch it. And then just smooth it down. Smooth it down, blend it in. There we go. And I'm going to take my wet sponge. My sponge is a little wet, just a tiny bit, and I'm just going to smooth the bottom, even the bottom. My bottom out. Okay, and I can also put a little bit on it. Now I'm going to fix this rim. I'm not going to allow it to stay this way. I am going to even it out. I just want to make sure I stretch as much clay as I can to the top. I kind of like that indent right there. Maybe I should do that. My fingerprints here. It's funny when you're making things and you already have an idea in your head how you want it, but as you are creating it, you come up with different ideas. You get more creative. So I think I'm gonna pinch it around the rim and give it a, I don't know, let's give it some dramatics. Okay, so I like that. I'm starting to like my form. As you can see right here, it's starting to come into itself. And okay, so I went ahead and I smoothed it out. I smoothed it out a little bit more. As you can see, it's getting a lot better. And I also use my needle tool to trim my rim. Okay, so it is much more smoother. So I think I'm okay right now for now, and it did harden up a little bit, so it was easier for me to smooth it a little bit more on the inside, and I'm gonna smooth it out a little bit more once it gets a little harder. So it's almost leather hard. So now I'm going to trim the bottom of the mug. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to even it out. So I'm going to use my tools here that I have here. I'm going to use my needle tool. So I use my needle tool so it could guide me, and it tells me exactly where my foot should go. So I'm just going to point my needle tool where I want my foot to be. And okay, so I know my foot should be right here. Also, I'm going to do another thing here. I want to know how deep is my clay on the inside. So let me do this. So what I like to do, since I'm in my classroom, I could take two pencils of equal size, equal lengths. Then I'm going to put one on the inside of my mug and one on the outside, and just line them up together. So this right here tells me how much clay I have to remove. So I have about maybe that much clay. So I have a lot of clay to work with. So I'm going to turn my mug back upside down, and I know exactly where I'm going to trim. I'm not going to create a foot to put here. I'm not going to put a foot ring here, but I'm just going to create a foot using my tools here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to smooth it out as much as I possibly can. And I know this is a hand built, so it's not going to be perfect, but I want my mug to be as symmetrical as I can possibly get it. So right now I'm just feeling where are the soft spots. Okay, so I think I can take some clay off here. It's a little bumpy here, so I'm just going to remove some clay here using my pear tool. Hope you can see that. So I'm going to take a little bit more right here because I have more that's protruding. And then I'm going to come over here and take some off. And that just made a significant difference. Okay, so let me go a little bit. I don't want to go too far down because I like the way that I smoothed out the sides of it, so I'm just going to go not even half. I think that's about an inch right here. So I'm going to just smooth it out on the sides. Then I'm going to come to my top, and I'm going to smooth this out too. And a banding wheel, it comes in handy when you're doing things like this, so it's a good idea to buy one. All right. So I'm going to get my needle tool, try to center it as much as I can, and I'm going to spin it around, and this is going to tell me exactly where I want to make my cut. There we go. So I hope you can see that. All right. So I know that I have about this amount of clay that I can trim away from there. So I'm going to use my other tool, my other trimming tool, and I'm just going to spin the banding wheel so that I can remove some of this as even as I possibly can. I'm just going to go ahead and do it that way. Try to stay in that line. Okay. I think I can go down a little more. Okay, I'm going to hold it up, make sure it's even. Looks like it's even. So I'm going to continue to dig in here a little more. Remove this so I can see. That out the way. And then once I've gone down as far as I can go, I'm going to refine it, even it out a little bit better. Let me see if I can use this here. If my pear tool can help me a little more. All right, there we go. And it looks like I lost my shape there, but I can easily get that back. Okay, so I'm gonna line it up again, find my my foot line because I lost it. Let's see, there we go. And I'm gonna have to start a little bit out. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to smooth that up here. And as I said, I am doing this while I am in class, and you may hear the class. And then I'm going to come around here, smooth that out. But I want to come in here and just pull that out a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to follow this line. So I have a lot of clay to work with at the bottom, so I can afford to take clay off. And as I said, I'm following the line, making sure it is as even as possible. Okay, around that way, and then I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to come in and pull away, pull away, pull away. Make sure I'm not going too deep. Follow that line. Capture that center. So I just wanted to have a slight drop. Center of it. Okay, stand up. I think that's looking good. It's the way I want it. Okay, make sure I'm not going too deep. And now I just want to take my fingers and smooth it along the edges here. Okay, so then I want to come in the middle and smooth it out in the middle. And then I want to make my foot more pronounced. I'm going to come around this way. The inside, smooth that out as best as I can. Then I want to come here and smooth that out. And as you can see, there is a foot emerging from there. Smooth this out. And if you feel you need more clay, just pick up the pieces that you just trimmed, place them on there so that you can get an even distribution of clay. And then you want to go back and smooth that out again. I think I'm going to take my over here and just take a little bit more off the side. And then I'm going to use my sponge. And rub it a little bit. Okay. And let me get my rim. And then I'm just going to smooth it around here. And smooth it there. So if I can get up in that little corner there. Smooth it around. And then come on the inside. So I can smooth it here too. Okay, so now I'm going to turn it upside down, see if it's even, and it feels like this part is a little higher, so I may need to take some clay off here. And I just want to make that foot look more pronounced as much as I can. Let's see. Okay. I think this even. Okay, so that's good. Spread that out a little more there. Okay, so I think that's pretty decent. I'm gonna let it get a little harder, but before that, okay, so I'm gonna let it firm up a little more. I do have my stamp here, so I am going to stamp it. There's my stamp on it. So I'm gonna let it sit like this for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go in and do a little bit more editing to it, and I'll show you how that turns out. So this is part one of making a mug without a pottery wheel. So stay tuned for part two when I put the handle on it and also decorate it. Bye bye.